Howdy friends, Brian Flechsig, I'm out of Outfitters in the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and welcome back to another episode in our mini-series on fly fishing leaders. Yes, I know, we talk a lot about leaders around here, and we should. It's your most important piece of gear, or tied for your most important piece of gear with your fly. Of course, if your leader sucks, so does your fly line, so does your fly rod, so does your fly reel. So don't believe what the rod companies tell you. It's really all about your leader. So far in this particular series, we've talked about the purpose of a leader. And let's review. First and foremost, a leader must deliver the fly to the target. The second thing a leader must do is it must permit and even enhance a lifelike presentation. And the third thing a leader must do is it must be robust enough to survive the fight of the fish. You can go back and watch that original episode in this particular series right here. And if you can't see that link, it's down in the description of the video, as it always is, along with tons of other information. Subsequent episodes, we talked about leader length. We also talked about simple things on how to attach a leader, some leader care. And then we got into the diameter of your tippet, which may be the most important episode of all time. So you can watch that episode right here, a link down there, and also go back and watch episode 9 in our Getting Started in Fly Fishing program. To be honest with you, that's probably the best leader episode we've ever done. I'm not sure how we pulled it off, but we haven't been able to duplicate that. Today I want to expand on this a little bit, and I want you to stay tuned because in the episodes coming up, we're going to break down each of these categories. But I want to make it very, very clear that as we move forward, there are only 3 different types of leaders, okay? There's only 3 different types of leaders. There is no such thing as a permit leader or a bonefish leader. Leaders only differ in the stiffness of the butt section and then the stiffness and diameter of the tippet. That's the only differences. There's just, I'm sorry, but there's just, it's all marketing BS. There's no such thing as a bass leader. There just isn't. Let me break these down. First and foremost, you have a contact leader. And contact fly fishing, we've talked about this before, but contact fly fishing is when you're going to form the loop with the tip of your fly rod. And that loop is going to travel down the fly line, and you want that exact same loop to travel all the way down to your leader, and you want the fly to turn over, and you want the leader to go perfectly straight. You're then going to bring the rod down. We also refer to this as down rod fishing from time to time. The rod's going to come down, and the line's going to go under your index finger, and then immediately you're going to have contact with the fly. That's what we refer to as contact fly fishing. This is going to be, in the world of trout, this is going to be streamer fishing. It's all bass fishing. It's virtually all smallmouth fishing. It's all pike, all muskie. A lot of salmon and steelhead fishing might be contact. It's all saltwater. 100% saltwater is contact fly fishing. And that requires a particular type of leader. It requires a leader that has a butt section that's similar in stiffness, not in diameter, in stiffness to the tip of your fly line, and it is going to simply taper down to a tippet that's able to cast the fly and that is going to be robust enough to survive the fight of the fish. And that's where a tarpon leader might differ from a permit leader, from a bonefish leader. I mean, it's going to differ in the treatment on the tippet end, but the butt section is never going to change. The butt section for a contact leader for your 8-weight line is never, ever, ever going to change. It can't, because we're talking about simple physics. Okay? So in our next episode, we're going to take a look at contact fly fishing leaders. I'm going to finally reveal in this series the basic contact leader formula that has been developed by our good friend Flip Pallet, and it is now the leader formula that we're using and we're teaching in the schools that Flip and I teach several times a year down at his house in Florida. And then the next type, of course, is going to be non-contact. So non-contact, first and foremost, you have non-contact dry fly leaders. Now, this is getting into the world of trout fishing. And with dry flies, you typically do not have contact with the fly, meaning you want that leader to actually, you want it to lay in coils on the water, especially if you're fishing, for example, a mayfly, even a caddisfly, a stonefly that's dead drifting, meaning riding on the surface of the water as if it were unattached to a leader. So you're not pulling the fly. Now, of course, a lot of times you might want to move a dry fly. You might want to skate a caddisfly. And of course, you can always do that because you can always pull on any leader. But a properly designed or properly built non-contact leader for dry flies is going to have a much different butt section than a contact leader, typically. And it's going to have a much different tippet than, say, a contact leader, because dry flies are lighter and less wind resistant. And then number 3 is also non-contact, but that's going to be for nymph fishing. Okay, with nymph fishing, it's a very, very similar situation where you want that nymph to be drifting along the stream bottom as if it were unattached to your leader. But with nymph fishing, we typically have much heavier flies. We would typically have much heavier flies. We might have split shot attached to that leader. And probably we have a strike indicator somewhere on that leader, usually up on the butt section. So this non-contact dry fly leader does not have enough butt to turn over those heavier flies, that split shot and that strike indicator. So it's a much different build. We also want a nymph leader. We want a nymph leader to actually kick over. Okay, and we use something called the tuck cast. We're going to talk about that. I do believe we've done a video, of course, on the tuck cast and using the nymph leader formula that I'm going to show you. You can view that video here. Again, if you can't see it, it's down in the description. So a properly designed nymph leader combined with a proper tuck cast, we want it to kick over such that the flies, the split shot, and indicator theoretically enter the water in one zone, so they sink straight down that indicator, and then the rod comes up. Okay, also called high stick nymphing, but we often refer to that as up rod fishing. This might even require a different type of fly rod. For example, a lot of people use 10-foot, 11-foot, 3 weights, 4 weights, 5 weights these days for high stick nymphing. That's not a rod you would really ever want to use for contact fishing. Contact fishing, down rod fishing, you want a 9-foot or shorter fly rod for that. Dry fly fishing kind of falls in the middle. It can be up rod fishing. It doesn't have to be as high stick as nymph fishing. So much different leader builds. And this is it. This is the only 3 leader builds out there. So I want you to stay tuned. In the coming episodes, we're going to take a look at all 3 of these: contact, non-contact for dry flies, non-contact for nymphs. I'm going to teach you how you can tie your own. I'm going to show you the materials. I'm going to show you how we tie that leader, how we attach it. Maybe in some situations, we're going to want to snell that leader onto the tip of the fly line. In certain situations, we might want to use a loop-to-loop system, which if you're in non-contact fishing, a loop doesn't make a bit of a difference anyway. So we're going to get into that, and then I'll also show you some store-bought package leaders that, of course, you can find here at Matter Outfitters that will work. They might not work as good as something that you would build yourself, and of course, it's going to be more expensive. But if you don't want to get into building your own leaders, I still want you to stay tuned, because these are going to be 3 very important episodes coming up. So it's important to understand contact fishing Loop goes all the way down the leader. The rod comes down. You have contact with the fly. Jump to number 3, non-contact nymph fishing. We want half stiff butt section so it can turn over, heavy fly, split shot, and indicator, but then we want it to collapse so it does this. And then the rod comes up and we control the drift, usually by mending. And then kind of in the on the other extreme, the non-contact, we want a fairly limp butt section throughout most of the length of that leader, so it lays in coils on the water and allows that dead drift of that mayfly, stonefly, midge, caddisfly. So 3 distinctly different types of leaders, 3 distinctly different types of butt sections and different builds, and we're going to get into it. So I want you to stay tuned. Stay close. Don't go anywhere. Okay? Be sure that you're subscribed to our channel so you always get and also hit the notification thing. That way you get notifications when we release a video. We appreciate you subscribing. That really helps us out. Hit the like button. That makes us feel good. Hop on over to matteroveroutfitters.com. Register for our monthly newsletter so you stay tuned to what we're up to and where we're going. And in the meantime, be sure to watch this video right here and watch this video right here because we think they're all pretty good. So stay close. We've got a lot more coming at you.